Hey, if you ever have problems with a stiff neck or stiff back or problems with your arms or shoulders in orchestra, this video is going to be for you. Today, I'm going to be sharing a class that I taught to my VIP students, and I shared 4 important things about preventing injury. 1, how to avoid injury while sitting when you're playing. 2, avoiding mistakes that you might be making that lead to back or neck pain. 3, how to find and release tension while playing. And 4, how to find more playing ease that can improve your postural and body awareness. Now, I have a disclaimer. Please bear in mind that I'm not a health practitioner or physiotherapist. Information I present in this video is not going to be medical advice for your situation. I highly recommend you consult with a professional health practitioner if you have playing related injury. The information in this class is meant to help improve the quality of your playing through better quality of knowledge that you might have about how you play the violin. So I hope that you will be seated comfortably because I'm going to take you through a body scan and body awareness exercise. So you can take this moment to grab your instrument and have it in hand if you want to feel what it feels like to be seated in orchestra with your instrument. Okay, we will start with a body scan and hope you enjoy.
Let's start by either eyes open or eyes closed. It's up to you, because in orchestra we play with our eyes open. With your eyes open or closed, we're going to start with awareness. Let's start with feet first. Just sense the feet. Usually they're inside of shoes when you're in an orchestra. And ideally I wear flat shoes. I no longer wear heels. Whatever shoes you're wearing, hopefully they're flat. Now just sense that you have the 3 corners of your feet. We start there. The feet are very important foundations, because if you test it now, if you push on one foot, let's say your right foot, slowly push and you start to notice that your torso follows. Now release that. If you push on your left foot, you'll also notice that your torso will also adjust. This is why having a sense of your feet is very important. So when you have equal 50-50 support on left and right foot, now you can sense that your spine is now balanced. Push again on your right foot to feel how your spine and then your head too, and the violin too, will also be affected. If you push on your left foot, same thing. So feet are very important when you play the violin, believe it or not, because you can use your feet almost like when you paddle with a canoe, right? Yeah. So we can use that. Right now I'm pushing on one foot and right foot. So now if you push on both feet equally, just feel the 50-50. And ideally you find a tripod or triangle, upside down triangle. So 2 feet left and right of you, about 45 degrees or so, 30 degrees, maybe 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. The center is your spine, your pelvis. Now from there, I feel that tripod sensation, left and right foot. Then I feel my Sitz bones. So the pelvic bones are pointy bones. So you feel the balance between the left bum and the right bum. So in orchestra, this will help us prevent backache, neck ache, and tired muscles. So we start there first. Feet left and right, sits bones left and right, 50-50 on both. Now when you have sits bones balanced, your spine rises. It's a very thick spine. Vertebrae are very thick. Right down here. Feel how big they are. When you touch the back here, you're going to feel the bony parts. This is not the center of your spine. Okay, let's remember that. It's easy to forget that. It's actually deeper inside, towards your belly button. Okay, so if you want, you can close your eyes if you like and sense. Go inside a couple of centimeters, at least 5 centimeters or so. There is the center. Now, can you feel that changing? You can imagine it if you don't sense it. You can imagine that that's where the center of your spine is. So that might change the way you sit. If, for example, if you poke on the back, you touch your spine, the pokey parts, yeah, that's the outside of your spine. If you want, curl your back and you can feel that, the vertebrae, yeah, poking out. Now, let's do the opposite. Stick out your belly button. Yeah, okay. Do poking out again. And you're feeling that lumbar part of your spine going out and in, out and in. So the extreme out and the extreme in. Okay, good. And now, while you're doing that, do you notice that your sits bones, your your pelvis is doing this? This is really important for us to be aware of when we sit in orchestra for hours. Okay, so whenever I play in orchestra for hours, I remember to mobilize this lumbar part of the back when you sit in orchestra, because these muscles here can get very stiff. I don't know if you notice that. When these start to overwork, they'll get very, the spine will also start to lock up as well. So occasionally I recommend you do that. You find your 2 feet left and right, find your 2 sits bones left and right, 50-50. Then what you can do is rock, poke your belly button out, poke your spine back, just rolling. Then it reminds your bones to start moving again and the muscles to start to be more flexible, okay? Because if we sit for hours like this can start to hurt, and especially if you start to twist. We'll talk about twisting in a second. But first, this is where you start. For orchestra, this is, I think many teachers don't teach this. And this is how I got injured, and you don't want to get injured too. We'll get up here too, okay, first, but we start here. So bottom up. So now we're at the lumbar part of our spine. So find your center, so you're not sitting in orchestra like this, okay? And you're not sitting in orchestra. Some people sit like this in orchestra. That means they don't have enough balance from the pelvis and possibly not enough core strength. But we don't need so much core strength if you're already balanced on your pelvis. So always find is the kind of like 2 little bony rocker. It's also important to check in with your lungs, your rib cage. When you sit in orchestra, it happens that when we play, these muscles here, oblique muscles, will start to contract and this starts to get long. So now the spine does this. Just be aware of that. We'll go back to your sits bones, and now I can tell that more weight is on my left pelvic sits bone than my right. Yeah? Okay, so now balance those pelvis again. There. Okay, so now this left side here would be just the same length as the right side here, equal. So if I were to take you and go long, instead of this way or this way, okay, can you sense that? So it's like the seam of your shirt, the seam right here from the right armpit. See if you can make them as long as possible, and it's going to be from the top of your head. One seam gets short and one seam gets long. This will cause problems and back pain. So balance feet in a tripod, left and right, about maybe 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And then your spine is the center of your triangle. Then your spine rises from the equal balance. Now, with your violin, can you sense the left seam and the right seam? Remember that stick your belly button out, right? Bend, yeah, height, and then hyper extension, and then curl. So this will help me remind to loosen my lower back when I sit in orchestra for many hours. I do this all the time just to get loose in the middle of a show even. Now, when you're playing here, let's check in here with your neck, shoulder area, neck region, okay? I like to go back to the shoulder blades. So I kind of picture them kind of like, do you know the tectonic plates kind of float like this? You see how I'm doing this with front to back, front to back? The shoulder blades are now doing the same, right? They're going like this. Yeah. So that's very helpful for me to loosen up that area. If you like, join with me, just take your left shoulder, tighten it, lift it, tighten it. So I look tight, don't I? I look funny. Just do it. Just make yourself look really ugly. If you notice that happens to yourself, what do? Can you now release, neutralize? Breathe. Breathe. Now, does it feel good? Okay, now do the opposite. Now pull down, too much. Pull this down. That's too much. What this does is it yanks these muscles here. These are the lats and things like this. If you're contracting those and yanking, what it does is it takes this collarbone and starts to, see, this is right across, and there's nerves inside the spine from the spinal cord that go underneath this clavicle. And these nerves will be here, and the bone will push down on them. Be aware of this being neutral so you don't yank. Okay, now do you sense that? So let me just talk about the definition of injury. Part of your body that is used beyond its healthy and biological limit. When you sit in orchestra, you're using muscles to sit up. Because if you weren't, you'd flop down, right? You need some kind of muscular strength to help you sit properly, right? But if you use, let's say you sit like this, can you see that? These back muscles are firing. They're holding. It's not healthy. Yeah? So same thing in orchestra. It helps. Where can we find the most neutral position without tightening this muscle or that muscle or this muscle? What happens when you swing your elbow? I'll tell you what this is. It's inside, deep inside here, inside the armpit. This bone, you know this bone, do you know what this bone is called? It's your funny bone, your humerus bone. So your humerus bone connects inside, remember the shoulder blade? So the shoulder blade, this one here, looks like kind of like this, but it's kind of like a saucer, like this. So this little shallow saucer and this really large bone can do a lot of things. It can go this way, it can go this way, and it can go this way, front, back, and go up and down, right? And it can go all the way around. So this, you see, it can do lots of things. It can do this. So inside here, this freedom here is what helps the elbow swing front to back. Now, if you put your right hand on your left shoulder blade, when you swing, you can feel that shoulder blade moving too. Okay? So if you want to help your fingers, the shoulder blade is involved. So this is the collarbone, that's the shoulder blade. This is all involved when you want to use a left hand technique. So if I want to swing my elbow, think about the freedom of that shoulder blade back behind here, collarbone in the front, and I'm going to swing here. If you feel the right side now, if you feel the freedom of that tectonic plate in the right shoulder blade, almost like that right shoulder blade is floating. Just think of it as there's air inside here. That sometimes helps me. Okay, I can tell that my neck is tight. Can you tell? Can you see it? I'm gonna loosen that right now. You see, you're getting in touch. You're getting more in control of the body. Watch others play. If they look tight, something's tight in their body. Or if their bow technique looks tight, you can guarantee they haven't done a body scan to find out where it's relaxed. When the brain asks, okay, ask your first finger to curl. Ask your finger to uncurl. Right? Your brain is asking your finger to do something. So if a muscle gets tight, right, and you start playing the violin, your brain is connecting from the neural connection through your spine. The spine goes to the nerves. The nerves asks this muscle to contract. I can ask that muscle to release. So you see how the brain is connected to the muscle? The more you strengthen this connection to the muscle, the more you can ask it to do things. The more you connect this brain to the muscle, the faster the communication becomes. It's very healthy, and it's going to get your brain connected more and more to your muscles, so that when you sit in orchestra for hours, you won't, oh, ow, I get that all the time. Oh, my back hurts from orchestra, right? Also, we didn't talk about rotation. Okay, we do not want to sit on a rotation either, so that your knees are pointing one way, but your body is pointing this way. That's also a big no-no. So you want this to become neutral. Another thing, too, that sometimes happens with me is when chairs don't fit me, I end up sitting kind of like this, where one pelvis is higher than the other. That's also a no-no, because this shortens that seam here, and this one's long. When you start to address what's going on at the bottom, then the neck will start to become less, it will be working less, because once you do something here, okay, I'll show you. Once you curl here, the neck has to go this way. So when you correct the bottom part of your spine, the top part doesn't have to do this anymore. Make sense? What if I do this? Then the neck has to do something like this. So this part is shortened. And these muscles here, we have scalenes, what are they called? Sternocleidomastoid, right? These are all these muscles too. They get tight as well, especially when you want to do this. See this? Right, that's a muscle. Yeah, these muscles will start to work too. Make sense? So see what happens here when your back hyperextends, then the neck is out of alignment. Now, if I do this, if I had but elongate the spine down here, right, where it comes out of the pelvis, then suddenly your arms, your bow arm will become longer too. You will feel it. Posture is kind of like the step, not step one, but it's step 0. Okay, so step 0 is starting with good foundational posture. And you're right, we don't often have a time to talk about posture. So now we talked about we had the time. Step 1 to fixing your technique, let's go to step 0 and look at your posture. Right now I'm sitting really nice and comfortably on my sitz bones, and I hope you are too. So that's step 0. If you have a problem with technique, start there. Always start there, step 0. Then we'll start looking at step 1. Okay, from step 0, are you using freedom? Are you finding freedom in your muscles? We talked about the shoulder blades, like tectonic plates, right? We talked about step 1 would be also to find the length of your collarbones. This is also very important, right? The reason why we do body scans in my classes is to get you more and more and more in touch with your own body. If you close your eyes, can you identify which muscles are firing? If you become more and more attuned to what muscles are being used while you play the violin, when your body is more free, you will become more injury free. Your technique will suddenly feel easier. Your technique will become more effortless. We are fixing all those problems by just getting you more comfortable with your own body and understanding what's going on. So let's refresh our memories. We started with the importance of how technique can be improved when you start looking at just basic posture. We learned the basics of good posture is finding neutral. Neutral meaning that you're not over contracting muscles that cause your body to be imbalanced. When you create an imbalance in your body, it creates another imbalance in your body. If you want to fix something smaller, is it something that's bigger that we need to look at first? You can connect again with the collarbones, shoulder blades, opening of this, thinking of air maybe in here and here, okay? And all the meantime, finding the balance between your 2 feet, your pelvis, right, forming sort of a tripod or a triangle for orchestra. It will take time to make this normal for your body to remember. Don't worry, I've been doing it for many years, so this is a new thing that we can now add to your violin life, and it's going to be a very beautiful addition to your violin life.
All right, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if that was helpful at all. If you have any questions or you might have any stories to share about personal injury, I know that I have had my own injury. If this was at all insightful, give the video a like. Share it with your friends, your students, your colleagues. And if you'd like to know more about the strategies that I teach in order to unlock more effortless technique in your body, I actually teach what I call the secret weapon. And I use that in my own playing and teach it to my students. And this is how I help students break through technical difficulties. If you want to learn more about that, I actually teach this secret weapon in a workshop that I have at lynnquo.com/free-class, linked in the description box below. In the meantime, let me know if you want to see a stretching video. I actually have a routine where I go through a stretching routine that helps relax my muscles after playing, after practicing, and after shows. Let me know if you want to see that. All right, click the button to like it, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. I will see you in the next video.